I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only
What's
one.
up, everybody? Welcome to my channel.
No one
I'm
likes being
Sunshinery. Make
lied
sure
to.
to subscribe and like this video.
You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. We are here for a Rachel Goe Rogue podcast episode, chapter 26, Jo Dirt. So that's kind of the clue. Guess who's back? And guess who has a whole lot more to say? Oh yes, it is Miss Jo, aka Joseph. So this is going to be a wild one, for sure. If you haven't seen my Jo's reaction video that I did to all of her IG lives that she's been up to, I would check that out as well, because that kind of leads up into this and explains a little bit more of how she's been acting, what she's been saying, and all of that. I do want to say one other thing before we start. I know a lot of you watch my channel for Rachel's podcast, along with the other things that I do here. And I recently had just posted a Lala Amazon Live. This is not something new. I've been posting Lala's Amazon Lives now for a long time. And even though I am not happy with how she was this season, what she said about fans, what she said about other cast members, I still am going to support everyone on this show, because I cover Vanderpump Rules and everything that involves Vanderpump Rules. I necessarily don't like Rachel. She's not one of my favorite people. I don't necessarily like Jo. She's another one of my not so favorite people. But I still wish them all the best. I still will support them here on my channel by providing the content that they put out and reacting to it. I understand that we're not all going to agree on everything, and I respect that, and I respect your opinions regarding how you feel about certain people and what's happening with the show. It just kind of broke my heart a little bit, because someone that always comes to watch at least these Rachel videos, I know they've been to a couple of my other videos as well, came to that Amazon Live just to comment saying that they were unsubscribing because I was supporting Lala. Again, I support the entire Vanderpump Rules show, cast, and everyone involved. Rachel's no longer on the show. I'm still here supporting her podcast. And like I said, she's not one of my favorite people at all. I understand not everyone is going to like everybody. And what I do respect is that there was another person that commented that always comments, and I love getting to see their comments. And, you know, I know that that commenter does not find Lala very appealing, and she's not one of her biggest fans, and I respect that. And I respect that she came just to comment on the video and let me know how she felt. And that's what matters the most to me. And those are the comments I really appreciate. It means the world to me. And I respect their decisions and I respect their feelings. And that's what it comes down to, is we don't have to support everything that I do here on this channel. We don't have to support everything I say here on this channel. We all are entitled to our own opinions, and I embrace everyone's opinion just like I hope that you can embrace mine. And with that being said, I love you all. Thank you all for supporting me, for continuing to support me. Make sure to like this video. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing and make sure to hit that notification bell to all afterwards so you can get notified every time I post a video or go live. All right, guys, let's get into Rachel Goes Rogue with Jo.
Welcome back to another episode of Rachel Goes Rogue. This is your host, Rachel Savannah Levis, and today we have Jo back in the studio. Jo Wenberg, everybody. This is my first repeat guest. I'm so excited to have her back because we're talking about the reunion part 2. She made her debut appearance. This is her very first reunion. She told me how much she appreciated being on my podcast the last time and how much that meant to her because she felt like she finally had a voice. So I wanted to have Jo back to speak on the reunion experience because this was not what you were expecting, I could imagine.
Not at all. And I'm so glad to be back, Raquel, because whether or not I stumble upon my words and all the, this is a safe space for me. So I'm so grateful.
Do you feel like it was validating in a way?
Yes. So many things that you didn't see and you did see. But I think that for me personally, walking off the stage, I felt really validated, and I didn't expect that anybody would want to validate my feelings or anything that had happened. Looking at what you had gone through last season, you were not, I don't want to bring you back up from last season, but I had that in the back of my mind that it could 100% be a shit show. Yeah. And especially because you were talked about so much on this reunion. So I was very validated and felt 8 out of 10 validated on this reunion.
I personally felt that the reunion, was a lot more calmer than last year's. But considering the circumstances and how literally everyone had just found out before last year's reunion, of course tensions were going to be high and shit was going to hit the fan. I get that Jo knew that going in and she didn't know what to expect. But she's also had to have seen other seasons in the past to know that the reunions are always kind of a heightened event because now everyone's seen what other people have said about them, see the side conversations and the side comments and things that they didn't know happened that they can now speak on and kind of be like, what the fuck, dude? So, reunions are put there in place for a reason. I mean, literally, any housewives reunion is heightened. This is just what reunions are. So Jo knew what she was getting herself into. I don't believe that she thought it was all going to be sunshine and rainbows. So, no reunions like that. And I was actually happy to see that people were very understanding and were trying to understand where Jo was coming from, and also hoping that Jo was listening and were trying to see if she understood where they were coming from as well, which I don't really think that she really got what Katie was trying to say, but we'll get more into it because I know they're going to speak about it. Oh, and one last thing. Of course she loved going on Rachel's podcast the first time, and then went, on Instagram and blew up there with all of her different IG lives that she did. So having to be able to get onto this podcast a second time and be able to even go more rogue than she's already been going rogue is just giving her more of a platform to continue the craziness. And I mean that in a loving way, Jo.
It did feel like you and Schwartz were not quite on the same page.
We were not on the same page. We were on the same page in terms of 0. It was very interesting.
It seems to be a consistent
theme
throughout.
Big hug at Crafty, which, by the way, Crafty means where you can go and have a little snack, another hug, and then on camera it was different. So
to be expected, I guess.
To be expected, I guess, as well.
Really, Jo? This is how Schwartz has literally always been. This is how he always treated Katie, his wife at one point. So, for you to feel like he was going to be different for you, it's having a lot of faith where, clearly it's obvious how someone is, and you really just feel like you could be that person that can change somebody. And I feel like the red flags were there for you in the beginning and you chose to ignore them. And I do feel bad for Jo. I do feel like she maybe was led to believe one thing and then he did another. But I also feel like he also made it very clear to her, and she chose to ignore the signs that he was giving her, which was he didn't want to be in a relationship. He just wanted to be friends. And she also seems like the type of girl that, like, she pushed it past the line of friends that maybe, yes, he indulged in, but he didn't want, and that led her to believe they were something more than what they actually were. What do you guys think? Let me know down below.
So when you were asked about the timeline of your relationship, Schwartz isn't disputing the details of your relationship. Like, he fully agrees to how many times you guys had sex and blah, 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 blah.
Yes, it's like the back end of everything. When you think about like a book and you open the book up, he's not really disputing like chapters 1, 3, 7, and 9.
He's disputing the existence of the book.
He's disputing the existence of the book.
Because
there it is.
He's literally saying you guys were not in a relationship,
Correct,
but you clearly were.
We were. And in the chapters, you can see it. But the book and the cover and the back, he's disputing like the whole thing, like the label.
The label.
And he doesn't like a label. So now when I have to remind myself how I felt about him, the reason why Tom, I believe, didn't want to put a label on anything was because I was a very present person. And I knew in my mind that I was trying to help Tom by helping him with his emotions after Katie and everything. And I was trying to motivate him to be more focused on saying things this is going to sound whack, but like saying things in the present moment, not be so future focused, because he would always be on his phone and he would always be worried about something in the future. So when I came into the picture, it was a very enlightening experience for him. And he's said it before. I think that scared him. And I knew that it would be a process to get through to him on this in terms of his mindset. I also think that when it came down to it, every situation that him and I were in, we were able to navigate it very well together. I think that the biggest thing for me was that we were not on the same page, apparently, in terms of what we labeled our relationship. I would say that if you would not see him and I together on or off camera, I don't know what dating looks like, but that's dating. That is a boyfriend and a girlfriend relationship. It's a two-way street. And honestly, I don't want him to ever think that he did anything incorrect. I don't want me to think I ever did anything incorrect. I think at the end of the day, the answer is I don't know. No clue.
Yeah.
Well, I think the issue is, Joe, is that you guys did not navigate defining the relationship. And defining the relationship is something that is a conversation that needs to be had so that two people are on the same page. Clearly, he maybe felt like he was dating you, where you felt that yes, you guys were dating, but for you, dating meant boyfriend and girlfriend, where maybe for him, dating meant we casually were hooking up, we would casually go on dates, we'd casually hang out, but we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. I know this is also like a topic that has been discussed with different generations, and dating per se back in the day, like my grandparents' time, it was called courting, which courting meant it led into dating and then potential marriage. You were courting somebody to get to know them and see if they were worth being a suitor in that sense. Dating for my parents meant that they were casually seeing each other until they were boyfriend and girlfriend kind of defined relationship. And that's how I kind of grew up, not in that same generation, but in my generation, dating meant kind of the same thing. Like you were not settled down with one person. You were casually dating many or one. But that's where you both differ. And I think that not having that conversation, defining the relationship, is what led to you being more confused about how you felt, because you felt like he was a boyfriend where he felt like you guys were just dating. So to me, that's not really navigating things better than anybody. I feel like she's trying to like one up Katie, and this is just my mindset, by like being like, I was trying to help him navigate the breakup and the divorce, and I felt like what we did differently was I made him more present and not like think about the future. It's like, girl, you did not change this man. Clearly, you had very similar issues, also different issues, but those issues were still the same patterns that this man has always had when it comes to relationship and women. It's something he needs to figure out and does not need somebody to do it for him or somebody to show him the way. He needs to navigate it on his own, just like you need to navigate it on your own, and so does Rachel.
From my perspective, it seems like Schwartz is love avoidant in ending that relationship with Katie and going through the divorce. It seemed like he was in a state of mind where he was scared to love again, although you guys did tell each other that you loved each other.
I think he was scared to love again. And then you're right. And then I came into the picture and he did not know what to do with it. And then really backpedaled. And then I'm going to go into another potential relationship and then not explain why we broke up. Like, I don't know, but I also know that like that's him to work that out. I've been sad about it, but I've also been able to realize that he didn't really take me seriously, I guess.
But it seemed like the cast pretty much supported you and all agreed, including Katie, that Schwartz was leading you on. And Katie even describes Schwartz as having fuckboy behavior. Was that validating to hear coming from Katie? And did you expect that at all?
No. I did not expect Katie to call out Schwartz as a fuckboy at the reunion. Like, I did not expect her to even go there. And was it validating? No, because again, it's almost as if like you're just kind of putting like a little bit of a Band-Aid on something that you just like ripped open for like a year. You know, like Joe's this, Joe's that, Joe's this. And then I'm going to be on the reunion and be like, hey, by the way, you're a fuckboy. Okay, well, where was that before? You know, like when you ripped me a new one every second you got.
I don't necessarily think it was validating even just calling him a fuckboy. Like, for Katie to say that, it's literally like how he was acting, how he's kind of been. He was always considered a makeout slut, and he had a girlfriend, a wife that he was cheating on by making out with people when he was drunk. That wasn't cool, dude. So he's kind of had this fuckboy mentality kind of a thing, and it's clear to see. And I think that's what she was trying to say when she called him a fuckboy. Not to help validate your feelings. I think she was understanding with you and knowing like he did the same thing kind of thing to you that he did to her. And Katie really opened up to you, Jo, about how at the time she was worried about her feelings, what she was going through, which was a divorce, a breakup of a long-term relationship. And at that point, she couldn't care about other people's feelings because she needed to learn how to care about her own and what she needed to do to make herself happy. And she tried to express that to you and apologize to you that she didn't think about the things that she was saying because at that time she was only concerned about her feelings and how she was feeling, and it wasn't in a good place. And that's my thing too, is like, you knew Schwartz was also not in a good place. He was also mourning the loss of a relationship, a long-term relationship with Katie. You even just acknowledged it here, but you chose to invest in him knowing that he had these issues, thinking that getting with him would help make these issues go away. That's not how it works. And I think that you, Jo, need to spend some time reflecting on not just the relationship with Schwartz, but past relationships you've been in, what has gone wrong, and what you need to do to be happy. Because once you figure that out, you won't need to have that savior complex where you need to save a man and need to be there for him when he's going through the worst time of his life to gain kind of that bond with them. Is that like the right word? I just think that everyone handles a breakup differently, and some people can move on right away. Some people need that time. Some people need that therapy, and we can't expect everyone to move on the same way or expect anyone to pick up the pieces for us and make things better. And yet she, yes, kind of had that Band-Aid and it got ripped back off, but those are what reunions are for, to discuss the hard topics of what happened this season. So, again, you knew what you were kind of getting yourself into going to a reunion. What do you guys think? Let me know down below.
And then validation doesn't come from Katie. Honestly, validation comes from, the people that I'm closest to. So like if I get validation from Scheana and Brock and Lala and like that doesn't go unnoticed. Mm-hmm. Those sweet people at the reunion were like, even Lisa and Andy even were like, wow, like we all thought Joe was lying, and then like Lala even was like, holy.
I love how Lala called him out, like really breadcrumbing you. That's exactly what he was doing. He didn't want to commit in a relationship. You guys were in a relationship, basically doing everything that a couple would do together.
Everything. I mean, I don't know how to more explain, like, okay, let's say that you're dating somebody and you go on a date, great, and then you wake up the next day and you're together and then you go walk the dogs and then you do like fun activities for a year and a half. I don't know how else you would date somebody. I mean, that is, and also we're talking like we're in our 30, he's almost 40, like, so we were committed. And I will say that 100%.
So wait, are you actually admitting, Joe, that you lived with Schwartz? Because that's what that sounds like. If you spent every day together, you woke up next to him. Oh my God, I thought you didn't live with him though. Thought you had your own place. I just really had to point that out. But my thing is still, I don't think you guys had that conversation about what are we? I think you tried, and I think he still at that point kept saying to you he didn't want to be in a relationship, but he liked where you guys were, and maybe to him, dating you wasn't boyfriend-girlfriend committed relationship. Clearly, even with, like, the singles party, you guys were in a relationship. Why would he even think, let me have a green wristband because I'm single? Like, I don't believe you two were on the same page, and I don't believe that you two had a productive conversation where it came to a conclusion like, this is our label kind of a thing. I just feel like there's more to this that we do not understand. I feel like Joe is saying one thing, Schwartz is saying another, and somewhere in between is the truth, which Schwartz did when reality hits with Brittany, and I got that podcast. I am going to be covering it because I think it would be very interesting to hear his perspective along with then now hearing her perspective and kind of getting it back to back. So make sure you are subscribed because that will be coming out next. I tried, guys. I tried.
Do you take accountability for staying in that relationship despite Schwartz not putting a label on it?
Well, when we were together, there was a label. So
in your mind, going into this season, you guys were in a committed relationship.
Correct.
So then how did it feel
when he hid me in certain scenes and I was just told to basically like put a single wristband on and then like paddleboard and be like,
yeah, why
as
would
if
you?
We're just friends, because I was protecting what I thought was the most important thing at the time, which was the relationship with Schwartz and I just fell in love and I'm an idiot.
Looking back now, do you regret how many chances you gave him during this filming and him acting one way on camera and another off?
I don't know how to explain this, but like, I still have a very hard time not being like around him. Do I regret it? No.
Why?
I don't know. I still really like, I've never been more happy, like weirdly in a weird way, like more happy with somebody. But I know it's this very relatable thing where it's like, that person's probably clearly not good for you. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that doesn't come with emotions. I've never laughed with somebody more and I'm looking for that again. Maybe I should regret it. I don't know if I regret it, but he shouldn't have to have this much weight on my life. But I've never met somebody who just the way that we would, I mean, I could just see us being old together. Like, that's the thing. It's like minus the TV, minus the show, minus the phones, minus all this bullshit, I could see 100% him and I being easily compatible. But that's not the case. So I shouldn't have given him so many chances. And thinking about it, I do think that what even means, like, what is giving somebody a chance if your partner doesn't even consider you, even a partner, if he didn't even consider me a partner, then maybe I didn't even have to even give him another chance.
Oh my God. So was there a label or wasn't there a label? Now she's saying, oh, there was clearly a label. We both knew what that label was. But then you're saying, like, he didn't define the relationship. This is where you get confusing, Joseph. This is where you boggle my mind. Like, oh my gosh. There's definitely more to this that we don't know. And I feel like even if they had these conversations, I feel like maybe she was hearing one thing, though he was saying another. So, like, she was only picking up the certain words that she wanted to hear, and that's only what she heard. But really, there was more said, and it wasn't actually what she was hearing. Do you get what I mean? I also don't think that Kyle Chan is a liar. Kyle Chan is brutally honest, and he is a sweet, compassionate man as well. Kyle did say on Kristen's podcast that there was no conversation about these wristbands, that you lied about that, and that nobody really had a clue that the wristbands even existed until they got there and it was a thing. So unless you had a conversation while putting on these wristbands, when did this conversation happen? I'm sorry, Joe. I don't need to believe you. Others can believe you if they want. But I'm saying that I believe Kyle, and I don't really believe that there was an actual conversation. If anything, there was like, should we go green? Should we go red? Green. Okay. Kind of a thing. Not like a huge discussion about it, which, yes, should have been like an indicator for you then, like, something's wrong here. If he's saying we're in a committed relationship, why the fuck is he getting a green wristband? Why am I getting a green wristband to satisfy what he wants? So many questions.
I think it's important to remember, like, if you're in a situationship like this, like, you are worthy of a loving, committed relationship, and you deserve that.
I agree.
Don't settle for something less. How did it feel seeing, or hearing rather, Schwartz talk about his new girlfriend in front of you?
Well, it didn't feel good. But I also, this is going to sound really, really weird, but I remember looking at Katie and she just did not have emotion on her face. And I'm like, wow, I want to get to that point. You know, like, not that point, but like, she just didn't give a F about whether or not who he was dating. Shout out to, I will say that was like the most realistic visual that I've remember seeing. But I mean, I also felt empowered because he said it finally out loud to the world, because he didn't have the confidence to say it to me.
At what point was it that you were like, shoot, like, this is not a relationship anymore?
I went to go pick up my stuff, and no, he hugged me with like a half hug. It was like a pat, pat, pat on the back.
I mean, Katie did good with having a stoned face, or what do they call it? The gray rock theory. Ariana's motive. Which, oh my God, I saw this meme going over what a gray rock does, and it was just so funny. Maybe I could put it up on the screen. If I find it for you guys, it'll be up right now. But I just think that Katie has moved on with her life. She's dated other people. She's happy with where she is, and she's not miserable in a relationship with Schwartz. And she has no emotion. She's happy if he's happy, and if he's not happy, then that's on him, kind of a thing. And I believe one day, Joe, you will get there. You are feeling the emotions of a breakup, and a breakup that maybe wasn't really a relationship. I don't know. But you're feeling hurt that somebody that you really cared for doesn't want anything to do with you anymore. And that is sad. And I do feel bad for you. And you are going to feel hurt. And I know that you will get over this. And P.S., I do not like how she cut, like, Joe off in the mid-sentence of what happened and how she knew to go to a commercial break. But let's just, go to the next part.
Do you feel like, because I know you're still hung up on it and you're still processing it.
Processing it for sure.
And I feel like with the show and everything, you're reliving things, so it's harder to move on.
I don't know how you did it again. But
Schwartz did ask you, like, are you dating anyone?
Yeah, he asked me at the reunion. He's sitting 2 feet away from me, not even that, like 1 foot away from me. And he's like, are you dating anybody? I was like, no. Like, you know that I'm not dating anybody.
Do you feel like moving forward?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You feel
very
like
much
you're
so.
ready?
No, I don't feel like I'm ready to date anybody unless I actually get to a place where it just happens. For me, it just, like, I could meet somebody, like, tonight and be like, hey, you know, because I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm ready to do it with somebody else that's ready to do it too, you know?
Yes.
Ready for me means that there's not like a ready or not a ready. So people think that needs to be, I need to move on from a certain person before I can get involved with another person. To be honest with you, in reality, I still think about the wonderful moments of other, like, there's always lingering moments, right? It doesn't need to be like a black and white thing. When I will find somebody, I know that I will not be potentially 100% over Schwartz, but I know that the person that will be with me will help me get there and take it day by day, because that other person too probably has an ex that is a little bit hung up, potentially, who knows. I'm excited to see what the future holds, and if that's the right person, they're going to understand my journey, because it's not easy to do it, not only like on my own, but also like on TV. So I don't think that I have an answer for that, actually, because I don't think that there needs to be like a cut clean. Everyone thinks that should be the thing, and I don't think that. Am I over Schwartz? No, but my person that probably will come over into my life, he'll be able to understand that. And if he doesn't, then that's not the right person.
And again, now I sound like a broken record. Everyone's grieving process is different. And you know what's kind of funny? Like, people say, like, how did Ariana move on so fast? Well, because her boyfriend was long distance. They had met at the wedding and were only talking. They didn't become boyfriend and girlfriend, like, right off the bat. And because they were long distance, they were able to talk on the phone and get to really know each other. And she, as she has said, too, was not going to let such a wonderful opportunity pass just because what she was going through. He also knew what she was going through. He was well aware. And yes, there can be significant others that help you get over the past relationships, the heartache, all of that good stuff. But you also need to know what is best for you. You also need to know that you love yourself, because you cannot love anybody else until you love yourself. And that's a big, big thing. But I know Jo will be just fine, just like Rachel will be just fine. I think they both need some time, though, to reflect. Since they were both in negative relationships, I'm not necessarily saying that Jo was in a negative relationship, but she was not in the relationship that she wanted to be in, or she thought she was in. And she needs that time to reflect on it, to kind of understand it, so that way it doesn't happen again. It could take a day. It could take 2 days. It could take 2 months. It could take a year. That's up to her and how she heals.
How does it feel knowing that Schwartz is now dating this girlfriend of his publicly?
Depends on the day. How I feel about that is, you know, like on a Monday, I'm like, I'm so proud of him. I'm so grateful that he's doing this, and he's doing it not necessarily publicly or privately, whatever it is. But, you know, I'm like, on a Monday, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that he's happy. I'm hoping he's happy. And then like on a Tuesday, I'll like be doing hair and something will like trigger me, like, you know, and I'm like, I miss him. I'm very grateful that he's happy, because I know when unhappiness comes out of you like a volcano, it shows. At the end of the day, at the end of the week, I'm very happy that he's got a beautiful relationship and he's happy. So as much as I'm sad, it's more of I'm happy for him. I'm very proud of him. I'm hoping he finds happiness.
I just want to commend you really quick, because you feel your emotions really hard.
So do you.
Yeah, but I have like this ability, which isn't a great thing, to suppress my emotions. And you know, like feeling your emotions fully helps you heal, and you're not denying anything, and you have the right to feel whatever you're feeling. So I just want to point that out.
Thank you, babe.
Yeah.
I really just appreciate that. Back to the reunion.
Yeah, back to the reunion. Tom Sandoval says about your relationship with Schwartz, the way that it was portrayed on the show was different than how it was. Would you agree?
Well, I don't know why he would say that, because he wasn't in the relationship. So
I would agree with him personally. How you saw the relationship on the show is not how it actually was in real life.
Yeah, that makes sense, because in my mind I was thinking, like, why would you speak on my relationship when you don't even like really know about my relationship? But then he's kind of pointing it out that, like, yep, he's right. Yep, I guess we're gonna give Tom Sandoval a point. I would agree. You're right. I just read that question incorrect.
No, I
Sorry.
know, but I think other people may have also, because immediately Lala was like,
Oh, yeah, she was
don't
Lala.
stop gaslighting her. It's not the show. Got a little defensive over
It was
that.
nice to see Tom Sandoval kind of step up and be like, guys, by the way, whether or not he was like being kind or not to me, it was almost like his truth was coming out about the Schwartz and Joe show, basically.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see Lala supporting you too.
Oh
because
my
her
gosh,
point,
it was amazing.
Her point was like, okay, he's
Yes.
gaslighting you,
Yeah.
and this is
she was like,
this
bam,
is,
bam, 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 bam. Yes.
It's literally making you crazy.
I looked at Lala. I remember she was across from me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like I wanted to like wink at her.
So, would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, is Rachel actually agreeing with Sandoval on something? This might be a breakthrough. Might be the first time they agreed on something since they agreed on the affair. P.S. I am so sorry if there is loud motorcycle and car noises in the background. These people are just having fun and don't realize that my mic picks it all up. But I kind of took what Sandoval said like Joe did, though I did understand what Rachel meant when she kind of interpreted what Sandoval maybe meant. I do think that he was kind of on Schwartz's side about it, and meaning like there's more to this than you know, and the cameras didn't show it all. Meaning like, what didn't we know? What didn't we see that maybe Schwartz was saying and doing, and Joe was saying and doing, that maybe would have made it more clearer for everybody, or at least us. Because I think ultimately this was a situationship. I don't think they really knew if they were going up or down or left or right with each other. And it is what it is. And I think she's very hurt by the fact that he wouldn't define their relationship, and then ultimately they get out of their situationship, and the first girl that he meets, he's so happy to be in a relationship. He's happy to announce it to the entire world, and the label thing wasn't an issue with them. And I think that really bothers her.
Would you blame the show for the discrepancies?
No, I blame Schwartz.
Fair.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He had a choice.
When Andy asked if Schwartz ever asked you to lie about your relationship during filming, you said no.
Great. This is a really good point.
Do you still stand by that?
No.
Why did you feel the need to lie for him?
I don't know. I think at the moment, I mean, my heart and my soul were still so attached to him. And it was a moment of like, I'll just sit here, and the quicker I can answer these questions, the quicker I can kind of get off the stage kind of thing. If I had said yes, I know that Schwartz would have turned on me kind of, you know. I just could feel that he might have been like, because you could see him being like, you know, like, thank gosh she said no. Mm-hmm. And I was doing something out of for him than out of for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I remember that moment. I was like, why did I say no? Mm. Yeah.
Do you still feel a responsibility to protect his feelings?
No, I don't. I'm ready to like say that out loud to the freaking universe.
Do you think he takes your feelings into consideration the same?
Nope.
The same way?
Not even close. He could give two shits about me.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So wait, what did Schwartz make you lie about? What did he say to you that you then went and said to Evolution, the network, on air? Like, what was this? Clearly it was like, our relationship isn't what it seems. We aren't together. Like, that's probably the lie, but like, again, I really just feel like they didn't have that conversation, so it wasn't necessarily like she was lying for him. She just didn't know, and maybe, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know down below, because like now I'm just getting even more confused. And doesn't this kind of remind you of another couple? Just the way she was like, I felt like I needed to say certain things, and if I didn't, then I knew he would get like disappointed. Kind of reminds me of like Rachel, and Rachel saying certain things regarding the affair, and knowing that if she had said what she wanted to say, that Sandoval would have got mad. Like reunion last year in her sit down interviews by herself at the end, where she was like, oh, it just feels so good to actually get it all out and not have to lie about it anymore. Because they lied about it being more than one time, and the list goes on and on. But you know what I mean? Like, that's what that reminds me of. Does it remind you guys of that? And Rachel, I don't know. I feel like you could be more comforting to your friend. I don't really see you being very nicely comforting your friend who clearly is going through it right now. Like, give the girl a hug, man. Like, I'd be hugging her. Like, I'm so sorry, babe. I would. It's your friend. Though we can't see, maybe she is hugging her. Maybe she's rubbing her hand. Who knows? Who knows? I just can't see Rachel doing that right now, in my head at least.
Me too, because I'm actually grateful because then that makes me like get to a place of healing.
The reunion wasn't that long ago. What's happened between then and now?
It wasn't like I was covering up for him or anything. It was more of in the moment when you're in can you imagine? You're sitting there, first reunion. The man of your dreams is next to you. He's dating a new girlfriend. The last thing you want to do is piss him off. Andy Cohen asked me and said, hey, like, do you feel like you were covering up for, or whatever the question was? And I said, no, because in my heart, I didn't think at that moment that I was. Looking back, I definitely was doing, not covering up, but definitely being a little not true to myself. And then now when I'm sitting here talking to you, Raquel, like I get to a place where I'm being able to express looking at something that happened in the past, living it right now in the present, and then going into the future. I'm hopefully saying that I'm over him.
I think from that moment that you said, no, I haven't lied for him, to the moment that you're sitting in this chair now, you've realized that you've betrayed yourself in 100%. The process.
I definitely did. And yeah, the moment I sat in that chair on that stage and said no, and then sitting here and saying, I wish I would have said yes to Andy Cohen's question at the reunion, I feel like I betrayed myself.
I understand. This was your first reunion, right?
Yes.
I understand that pressure.
Oh my God, Raquel. Yes.
Like walking to a room full of people that haven't supported you.
And you're like, oh my God, hi.
When you walk onto the stage, it's almost like, all right, here we go. And you almost
like an airplane.
Disassociate. I don't know. For me anyway, it was like an out-of-body experience.
Yes.
You're like, okay, I am literally stepping.
Yes. Like you're
walking. I can see my hands and my feet. It's weird.
And it's like an airplane taking off. You know, when you're about to like take off on an air and you're like, here we go. And you're like, where's my feet? Where are my hands? Am I gripping? I'm good. Okay. And 3, 2, 1. Bam.
So she really wasn't covering up for him. She just wasn't being honest with herself and what she was really feeling, and was just only saying things that she knew wouldn't get him upset because she didn't want to upset him, because she's still in love with him. And she maybe, I don't know what she thinks in her head, but clearly she thinks that there's a possible chance for them still in the future. That's what I got from all of those IG lives. I mean, she literally has been going on IG Live, and as Schwartz said, has been kind of manic and crazy and just going out of control. But she's hurt, and hurt people. So she's using it as her defense mechanism, as a weapon, to be like, okay, you want to, talk about you and your girlfriend and how much you love her and have this label that we never got, and like say that like our relationship was never actually a relationship. Well, then I'm going to go on IG Live and I'm going to tell the world how I feel. And necessarily, I don't think that a lot of what she had to say even then in these IG Lives came from a place where she was really understanding what she was saying. I think a lot of things came from a place of hurt. And I think when she sits down, reflects, and goes over it in her head, she could better understand, listen, Schwartz isn't really who she has made it out to be in her head. And she deserves so much better. And whether he was ready or not, he wasn't ready at that time. And that doesn't mean that he's not ready now, and happy that he's happy, but I need to do what's best for me. I need to do what's best to make myself happy. And that's where she needs to be. I feel bad. But then it's like, how much of this is you feeding your own brain these narratives that necessarily were never said or never true? That's where I'm like, okay. I don't necessarily believe everything you're saying, just like I don't necessarily believe everything that Schwartz is saying. And this is another reason why I kind of want to do When Reality Hits right after this, so that we all can hear Joe's side and then go right into Schwartz's side and kind of see if it aligns, what they say that's similar, what they say that's different, and maybe get a better understanding of it all for ourselves, because that's what we're going to have to do, guys.
I think it's important to talk about how the girls were so mean to you this whole season. I'm thinking back to Hotel Ziggy and them all like giggling, gossiping, and
I hope that Joe's uncomfortable at Hotel Ziggy. I hope that she's the rat girl. I can't believe she plugged her ears. I can't believe that she would even show up here.
Yeah. And then cut to the reunion that we just watched, and they are all singing a very different tune.
And that basically is such a disconnect for my brain, because you're sitting there and you're witnessing these people that rocked your therapy bill. I was very uncomfortable. It's almost as if like you're, a 10-year-old and then you're like high-fiving like your best friend, and then she turns on you and dates like your little cute crush. It's like a weird thing where it's like they say all these nasty things, and then they come at me at the reunion and they're like supporting me. And you're looking at them like, I don't even have your phone number.
The excuse that they gave for bullying you was that supposedly you knew about my involvement with Tom Sandoval.
Listen, when you rip me apart at not only a function, aka Hotel Ziggy, and tell me that I want her to be uncomfortable. I want Jo, she's a rat girl. And then you go 3 months later, what is that? 12 weeks later, film the reunion. And then you're saying, I'm so sorry, Jo, from Katie, about the way that your brain's not going to compute that. And it's going to take a long time from going from Hotel Ziggy to the reunion, where it's these women are ripping me apart and then all of a sudden supporting me.
Yeah, I can see how confusing that can be, because this whole time you're
massively
like, I'm not safe around these people.
I'm not safe around these people.
And then it's like a switch where
all of a sudden
now
you see my face being like,
you were shocked. It just seems like there's a double standard for the girls icing you out.
First off, the comment about like high-fiving your best friend and then like going and dating your crush. That's kind of like the same thing. Like you were letting Katie know through a text, like, girl, I got your back. Justin Bieber loves you. I love you. You're going to get through this. And then there you go dating her ex-husband. That's a little bit fucked up there. And she had every right to feel the way she did. You would have felt that way too. I don't agree with what they were doing to you at Hotel Ziggy. I think it was fucked up and wrong. I think they were being petty little betties and complete bitches. I will also say, from Hotel Ziggy to the reunion, Jo, it's not 3 months, honey bunny. Even if, let's say it was the end of August, because it was the end of the summer, September, October, November, December, January, February, I think it was March that they recorded it, 7 months. And I don't do math very well, so it might be 6 months. I'm 7 months, at least. So, yeah, they had a lot of time to process what they've been going through. They hadn't had cameras around. They've been picking up their pieces without the cameras around and just kind of feeling normal and understanding kind of where everything went from last year to now this year, a whole later, and just where everyone stands from a year of heartache, heartbreak, betrayal that they all were trying to figure out and deal with. And when, Jo, when are you going to stop denying that you knew shit about Sandoval and Rachel hooking up? You knew that they were having an affair with each other. You knew. You went to Big Bear in January, not this January, last January, with Rachel to meet them on an all-boys trip to be there with the guys you both were dating. Clearly, Jo doesn't feel like she was like besties with Sandoval to be like, hey, are you still dating Ariana? But it's not that hard to fucking see. It's not that hard to do your own investigative work, like go on IG and see. Like, to me, She just doesn't understand why people are still frustrated with the fact that she is continuously lying, saying that she did not know about what Sandoval and Rachel were doing, when that is 100% not true. And I can even tell you that, Jo. Come on, be real. This is why people call you a liar. I'm calling you a liar.
Kyle Chan knew about my involvement with Tom, and they're all supporting him at this finale party. And it just seems like, there's no consequences for anyone but Jo. It seems like the girls are holding you to a higher standard of accountability than the other guys.
Kyle Chan apparently is very close to this group. And, Max is also very much connected. And then he slept with Katie. And at the end of the day, it was all focused on the female who was dating Tom Schwartz at the time. And I was getting ridiculed and ripped apart. It all amounts to nothing because now they're understanding my perspective. It's like, okay, so now you want to I will say Lala was really, I really think that I don't want to.
Speaking of Lala,
yeah,
she asks why everyone is gaslighting you about these feelings that you have. It seems like everyone kind of sees your side here.
I think I started crying. I think so, for sure. Because in my mind, she was really breaking a moment that really affected me. It was a moment of
wow, I feel seen.
I feel seen. It's not like they're my best friends.
Yeah, I know.
I don't even have their freaking phone numbers.
Right.
But I'm just saying in that moment, it's a little bit too late.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry. I will say this, though. If there comes a place where Lala and I would open up a part of my heart to her, not my whole, definitely. And I think that might be it because she was really, really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would have liked to have more support this season.
I would have really liked to have more support this season. And the only one that did support me in the female arena was Lala. And I will say this, Ally too. It wasn't like it was my best friends, right? But it was just I got ripped, in the way that you did too. So it was nice that there was even a good crumble of a little 25% of support from Lala, where it was thank goodness. Because everybody else was who's this rat girl?
I think that there was a whole lot of different mitigating factors that led these girls to not really liking you. It wasn't just the fact that you knew about the affair and why does Kyle Chan get away with it but Jo doesn't. Okay, first off, Kyle Chan has been very close to this group for many years, and I mean many years. I want to say at least 10, if not more. He has designed pretty much everyone's engagement ring, jewelry for certain events, things like that. Kyle Chan has been the man and a friend to a lot of these people for a very long time. Some people are better at separating their friendships, and it's not like Ariana and Kyle were really hanging out, though they were friends. She was there to support him in his new business adventure, but she wasn't hanging out with Kyle like Sandoval was. I think that he's not getting a pass. People are very aware that Kyle knew, and people are still very much upset that he knew and didn't say anything as well. And I think that shows with Ariana, with her gray rock face. Though she's also trying to figure out, is she really okay with people that are still okay with him? And even though she has said, I don't want to be friends with anyone that's friends with him, her opinion can change, her mind can change. And I really do believe that she can be friends with some people that are still friends with him. But going back to Jo, I believe it was multitude of reasons. What you texted Katie right after her divorce and then went and did. That no one's going to trust you with. And yes, the fact that you knew about the affair and you are still to this fucking day denying it. And it's if you can be friends with somebody knowing that she is doing this behind her friend's back and sleeping with her friend's man for 7 months, what kind of person are you? I'll tell you this, I ain't gonna trust you if you're best friends with Rachel still. That's how I would be as a girl trying to protect my relationship. I wouldn't want you around my man or even in my friend group because I don't trust that your intentions are pure and that you are ultimately going to be a friend that I am going to be to you. And believe me, Max might be a friend. And that's the thing. Max even said, like, he wasn't aware of what was going on. Yes, you might have flaunted it in front of him, but he didn't physically see it. Where, like, Joe, you were partner in crime with Rachel. Whether you were driving or Rachel was driving, you both took that car trip up to Big Bear, and you knew exactly what room she was sleeping in and what room you were sleeping in. That is fucking weird, girl. That's fucked up. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's just a big difference. And like Max and Katie sleeping with Max, she knows what she did was fucking wrong. She also very much had a vulnerable moment. She also had to then explain to one of her best friends, hey, like, I'm sorry that I slept with your ex. That, like, really trashed your life, too. And, like, I knew he was bad news. I don't know why I did this. And they're cool. I think it really all depends on the person, the situation, and what is involved. 7-month-long affair behind your best friend's back with her man is ultimately the biggest betrayal, and Sandoval too, what he did too. Like, it's not just one person, it's both of you. What you both did is a huge betrayal, and it's going to make everyone look around them and think, are these people just like those two? Because I thought I knew them, and clearly I didn't. They're going to start second guessing. They're going to start doubting. It's just natural. It's life. I think, yeah, maybe Joe got maybe mixed into that whole situation. And it was like the farther away she is, the more we don't have to deal with her. Or even know, like, hey, girl, like, I knew the whole time, and rub it in someone's face kind of a feeling. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know down below your thoughts and opinions. I love chatting with you all. And I'm just like, my mind is, when Jill was on Rachel's podcast, even just like her reaction videos on IG, like, she makes my mind spin. I think my poison ivy itching, as bad as it is, isn't as bad as the way Joe makes my mind go. Like, that's how crazy she's making me feel right now.
You broke down when Andy asked Katie about the name calling.
Oh, yeah, massively.
Why did that hit you so hard?
When Andy Cohen asked me about the name calling, I remember thinking, oh, no, here we go. In my mind, I remember thinking, like, do I go the pathetic route and, like, just kind of, like, in my mind, pathetic would be, like, me just sitting there stoically and being like, yeah, everything's fine. Mm-hmm. And it did not register. And I just felt like I was just so emotionally sad, and it just all flooded out. And then when Katie was trying to deny some of the, the name calling.
Yeah, you held your ground.
I did, with some tears on my cheeks.
Yes, you literally mirrored back to her exactly what she said.
There's no excuse. You don't get to call me this, that, and the other. You don't get to talk to me that way. So I felt good about being like, there's no excuse. Yeah. You don't get to talk about the fact that you're going through something really tough. What do you think I'm going through, Katie?
Her excuse was she wasn't supported by many people in this room. She said, it's not about you. It wasn't nice. It wasn't kind.
I'm sorry that I wasn't kind, and I'm sorry that I wasn't nice.
Let's pump the brakes. She was saying what she said about you wasn't nice and wasn't kind of her. So whether you were nice or kind was not the freaking point. Here's why I believe you hear certain things, but you don't hear exactly what's being said. And I know that is a form of ADHD, where, like, you are not really focusing on what is being said, so you only hear key elements, and then you go off on a tangent with those key elements, but reality is you're not processing exactly what was being said. Just like in that moment, here you are again. Rachel's literally reading them off the page, the words to you, and they're not computing still. She was saying she wasn't nice. She was saying what she said about you wasn't kind. And she was going through something herself. And yes, it was no excuse. But what you were going through then was not what she was going through, number one. Number two, you didn't see it that way. You had every intention to get with Schwartz, and do whatever the hell you were going to do. But then you were also sitting there texting her, saying that you cared about her, trying to validate her feelings. And it's confusing people. And that's where she then wasn't kind to you. She wasn't nice to you. She said things about you that were not very nice at all. And she's not using it as an excuse. She's owning what she said and did. And you're not seeing it as she's trying to apologize to you, but you're just not computing exactly what's going on. Even here, Jo. Am I the only one that's like seeing this? Or like, do you guys see it the way Jo is? I want to know, because maybe I am wrong, but that's how I interpreted it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people did too. That's why I want to know what you guys think. I hope that I'm not alone on this, though I could be. We're going to find out.
Okay. How are you going to fix that?
Right. And what she said on part 1 of the reunion, she said it's intention versus impact. Like you could have an intention of not bringing this much harm.
Yes.
But the way that it impacted you
yes.
was insanity.
Insanity. Pick a lane.
I know. And that's literally all I could think about when Katie was saying this apology to you, because it's like, in a way, I empathize with her that, yeah, it wasn't about you. Maybe it wasn't about you, Jo.
Yeah.
She was dealing with her shit.
But how would I know?
But
how would I know?
Her actions still have consequences on your life.
Right.
Well, damn, Rachel even knows that Katie was trying to apologize to you. She just said it. And yes, like, she didn't mean for her intentions to be so impactful, but that's why she's trying to apologize and own her mistakes and say, yes, I was wrong. I fucked up. And I was not thinking about the words that were coming out of my mouth and how it was going to impact you. Just like, Jo, you need to realize that the text message that you sent Katie, you had an intention, and the way she took it impacted her, when then not even a week or so later, you're, moved into Schwartz's apartment. And I know the timeline for me is it was probably a little longer than a week. Let me not say that. But like, you went from, here's this intention of letting you know that you are loved and you'll get through this, to now you're sleeping with my ex-husband. It works both ways. It's a two-way street. Sometimes these girls, like, clearly they both get that it was an apology. Maybe Jo doesn't, but at least Rachel sees it. And I get actions speak louder than words. Take that apology, Jo, and see if it continues to go that way with the actions from Katie. If Katie chooses to keep saying nasty things, then clearly her words meant nothing. You are not even giving her that chance, let alone acknowledging that she really apologized to you. Though you have said on your Amazon Lives, you're not Lala, your IG Lives, that you appreciated the fact that Katie apologized to you. So what the fuck is it, Jo? You're confusing me, man. Or you are just highly confused, and maybe you do need to speak to your therapist and kind of work this out. Maybe have your therapist watch it and have her analyze it. I feel like Rachel's therapist does that for her. Maybe she can, give you some resources. And I do mean that in a respectful manner. Like, if a friend can help somebody, say, like, I have a great therapist, let me give you her number. That's an amazing thing. I've had plenty of friends do that, and thanks to them, I have an amazing therapist because my friend referred me to one. And come to find out, one of the people that works in my therapist's office was somebody that worked with my therapist that passed away. That was the most amazing guy in the entire world, and I would have never known if my friend never referred me. So, maybe Rachel knows somebody that can really help you break this down and have you understand it for what it is. We literally have a minute left. Let's just get through this, guys. I know I'm the one. I need to get through this.
Was it hard watching that scene back, Katie trying to excuse her behavior towards you?
Yeah, very hard.
Were you proud of how you handled it?
I was. Yeah, I felt like I handled it pretty well.
Katie sort of gives you an apology. Do you forgive her? for her hurtful words?
I do not forgive her. I also don't forget it. And I also won't be able to understand it unless I get an explanation, because it's very much of a double standard.
Ariana has said that she hasn't watched this season. Are there any moments from this season you wish you hadn't watched back?
There's a couple moments that I feel like I wish I would not have watched back. I think the one that really stuck with me was the scene where Schwartz and I were paddleboarding, because that was really happiness for both of us. The first part of the scene where he comes in with his blonde hair and we have the breakup quote unquote scene where I'm doing like the bird whistle to, Gordo and Butters, and we just have like that cadence together. And then I think the other part that I regret watching was when I was crying at the finale where, Katie was was ripping me a new one. I mean, that was tough to watch. And it was also tough to watch Schwartz kind of like then stand up for Katie afterwards. I think that the biggest thing is that Schwartz is very much tied to Katie, and whenever that's over, he'll be free. I think the other thing that I regret was the way that I sat in my confessionals.
Watching that back.
Mm-hmm. Not a good look.
Jo, thank you for joining me today. I'm so happy to have you back, and just to know that you're hanging in there. And where can we find you on Instagram? You have some cute merch.
So it's shop Jo my gosh, SHOPJOMYGOSH on my Instagram. Jo my gosh.
So 1 minute, Rachel, you are saying that Katie apologized. Then the next minute you're saying kind of apologized. Well, what is it? To me, Katie was trying to apologize. Jo was not understanding. Jo was doing what she does on this podcast with you, and interrupts people while they're talking and overtalks people while they're talking, which, listen, I have not said one word about it this whole time. It's so bothersome. And I don't know if that's like your ADHD kind of triggering it, or like you trying to relate, or you just trying to get your thoughts out, because I do that sometimes, and it's something that me and my boyfriend have discussed, where like he's talking and I kind of cut him off, and it's like, but if I don't say this to you now, I'm going to forget, kind of a thing. So I get it, but you need to be more mindful and respectful of it. It's something that if he never pointed it out, I would have never known, and now I pay so much attention that I'm very aware. I'm even aware when he does it. So it's something to work on. My next thing is, why? Why, Rachel, bring up Ariana's name? You could have been like, some casts have said that they did not watch this season back. What are some of the things that you wish you didn't watch back this season? You didn't have to mention her name. And to me, that was done on purpose, and I don't know if it was done on purpose just to kind of get her name in the podcast, or like because I don't know. I feel like it wasn't done with pure intentions, and that's just my opinion. And another thing that I want to mention too, it's like Jo wants an explanation why Katie said the things that she said, but Katie was trying to give you an explanation, and it wasn't good enough for you, Jo. But yet when you gave your explanation on why you texted her and then did what you did, she was not receptive of what you had to say regarding that. And you don't have to accept each other's apologies, but you need to be understanding of the fact that you both just need to agree to disagree on certain things, and it's okay. In my opinion, you fucked her over, so she was holding that against you, and she didn't say some very nice things about you because of what you had said and done. You kind of played like, I'm your friend, haha, I'm sleeping with your ex. That's just like, you don't do that. And she then says, like, how when Katie was ripping her apart in San Fran and Schwartz stood up for Katie, it's because, he's tied to Katie. Yeah, they dated for like 12 years and were married to each other. They had a much different relationship than you and Schwartz will ever have. And I hate to say it, but like some people are like, you can get over your ex, but you'll never forget them. There are certain people that you will not get over in life, or you will get over, but you will never forget them. For Katie and Schwartz, I do believe that their relationship, though they are not together anymore and they will never get back together, they will always have that special place in their heart for each other because of just how much love they had for each other for such a long period of time. And I necessarily don't think that Schwartz feels the same way about you, Jo, as he does about Katie. And that's just being realistic. And then she was like, once he gets over that, he'll be free. He might never get over Katie, and Katie might never ever get over him. They might get to a place where, like, they're okay with each other, and it is what it is, and they can laugh about it, down the road. But they're always going to have ties to each other, especially when it comes to the show, their friends, all of that. They meant something to each other for a very long time, and that's not easy to just get over. And they don't have kids together, but they have dogs together, so they're still seeing each other on at least a weekly basis or an every other week basis, where they have that interaction with each other. So it's not like they're not gonna ever see their ex ever again. But ultimately, I wish Jo all the best. I will be keeping an eye out for everything that she might do on IG. I felt like Rachel could have been maybe just a little bit better of a friend. I don't know. I just felt like she really wasn't very comforting towards her friend with everything that she went through. But that's just me. Maybe that's her friendship. And, I'm different in my friendships than she is in hers. Other than that, let me know what you guys thought of this. I love getting to chat with you all, and I hope that you all enjoy this and have a safe holiday weekend. Stay tuned for When Reality Hits with Brittany and her guest, Tom Schwartz, so we can hear what Tom has to say regarding all of this Joseph mess. And make sure to like this video before you leave. And if you're not subscribed, I would get subscribed, so that way when I do post the When Reality Hits video, you get notified. All right, everybody. Again, have a safe holiday weekend, and we will be back here very soon. Bye, everyone.
Wanna burn all the bridges between us.